Tucker Carlson hosted Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
This is the guy who Crowder talked to, who Crowder assumed he played professional sport, but he was just a journalist.
Yeah. He was just a journalist.
How long did you play college football for? 5 years? 5 years?
I wonder if Tucker was also. Let's bring him on. Talk about what's going on in the NFL.
Tucker Carlson, big sports fan.
Here is Tucker talking about this player activist ruined the NFL for him. Just ruined.
Can't watch it anymore.
Can't even watch it.
They're breaking records every week on ratings, but anyway.
I try to explain to the players, hey, you're taking a dump on your business model. This business model that you all are pretending is racist has created more black male millionaires than any other industry in American history. Why would you dump on this industry? Why? Go to the music industry and complain about racism there.
Or how about the private equity business?
Thank you. That
would be good.
Any point. But I'm trying to tell you how to protect your industry that is actually, and particularly, it's been good to masculine men, regardless of color, heterosexual men, regardless of color. What are you doing? What are you doing trying to destroy the most masculine male work environment that there is in America? It makes you rich. These quarterbacks and they're making $30, $40 million a year. Take the money. Don't disrupt your business. Take the money and support the causes that you believe in. I'm just trying to.
I'm sorry. So he uses a quarterback as an example. I hope people understand when Lamar Jackson came out of the draft, there were well-respected old school football guys that said that guy can't play quarterback. Why was that, right? Because he's black. There's a perception that a black player cannot handle the mental and leadership workload that is required of the quarterback position. So in and of itself, that's already a self-selecting bias where these often white head coaches are, when they're playing Pee-wee football or when they're coming up, we're going to put the white kid, we're going to put him at quarterback. The athletes who can't handle the mental strain of being a quarterback, they'll play receiver, they'll play running back, they'll play defensive back, whatever. They'll play offensive line. We'll give that to the white kid. And so that's already a racist filtering system in and of itself. But then he talks about the how you're taking a dump on what did he say? Your
industry.
Your industry, making more black millionaires there. Yeah, because the issue is not the very, very select few who are able to make money in the NFL. It's about the collective. I think he must be responding here to the Brian Flores lawsuit.
No.
Oh, he's not.
That's what's so hilarious about this, right?
Wow.
This is from Monday.
Oh my God.
He's complaining about black athletes in the NFL crapping all over the NFL, even though it's made them so rich. Why are you so worried about racism in the NFL? There's so much racism other places. But what's also amazing is like, dude, you don't think it's a problem that you have to rely on football to make pay black people?
Well, so what's the cost of those number of black millionaires? There's stats that say 78% of NFL players go bankrupt within severe financial stress just within 2 years of retirement, and people just don't understand what it means to be earning that much money for that short of time with professional athletes. You have a earning window of 5 to 10 years if you're lucky.
The average length of an NFL career is 3 years.
Exactly. And so you that millions has got to last you for the rest of your life.
And you got to deal with the head trauma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have.
And the other parts of trauma for your body. And they're not just making money for themselves. So he focuses on the individual, of course, because that's what conservatives do. But a lot of times these guys, the NFL's 70 to 75% black, they come from poor areas and they become economies of one for their families. So they have to raise the level of earning for these guys because they're putting their bodies and their brains on the line for this gladiator sport, while the richest as he mentions, the owners can make all the money, and then the white quarterbacks take up a ton, mostly white quarterbacks take up a ton of salary cap space, and they don't get the money because the owners are too cheap to raise the cap. They hoard the wealth, and they don't want to spread it to the players at the bottom of the roster. And then just to like bring it back to what's happening with this Brian Flores situation, there's only, in a league that's 70 to 75% black, there's only one current active black head coach in the league, and that's Mike Tomlin, and he's been there for 15 years. I mean, is that unbelievable? So like this guy goes on Tucker's daytime show and says like, there's no problem. In the leadership positions in the league, there's 100% a problem. 100% a problem.
Also, just imagine what the segment would be about if black athletes and black football players went and protested racism on Wall Street.
Right.
Like they're suggesting. I mean, the idea.
Does the black trader have the platform that, Odell Beckham Jr. has? Ridiculous.
The idea that they would actually spend one moment of taking seriously a black football player protesting racism in any other sphere than football. They don't even do it within the context of football.
No.
But outside of sports, even within sports.
All they want him to do is to join in the stuff about China.
I mean, Colin Kaepernick was protesting the racism in this country. And they spent years maligning the guy.
They blackballed the guy, yeah.
And they're about to blackball Brian Flores, right?
He's done in the NFL.
So I mean, I hope he wins millions and millions of dollars, Brian Flores. And I hope that they have a new standard. Well, I mean, I could talk about this forever, but you have these owners that parachute in, like Stephen Ross, who doesn't even live in Miami, right? And he fired Brian Flores because Flores refused to tank and allegedly
to lose games on
purpose and take 100. Like these guys, if you're a black coach in the NFL,
explain the losing thing, because I don't think people understand that.
What do you mean?
They did a better draft pick.
They wanted him to lose.
They want him to lose, and this is what happened
to get
get the number one overall pick, to get Joe Burrow, who's now in the Super Bowl. So the owner, Stephen Ross, offered Brian Flores $100,000 a game for every game he lost, so that they would get the first overall pick, which, by the way, is going to set up, if proven, huge legal challenges for the NFL, because sports gambling is now a big thing in many states. And so you can't have guys losing games on purpose. That's not going to be acceptable. I hope he loses his ownership over this.
I mean, that's like the Chicago White Sox gambling style scandal, honestly. Like, and it's the racism is what's being reacted to, but that's also another thing that's just insane. Like
insane.
These owners, like, just to briefly cut in, Emma, just for a second.
No, it's okay.
There's this tweets from Michael Silver, at Mike Silver, former SI guy. This is from January 10th. There's systemic racism in the NFL, and there are actual racists in some positions of power. I'm done dancing around the ladder. And then yesterday he tweeted, I used to work for the NFL Network. Let me tell you something that is almost certainly true in the wake of this Flores lawsuit. Assholes are puckered so tightly in that office and in the league office that higher-ups will barely be able to function. Watch how timidly they cover this.
Yes. And I just another point just too about Flores being asked to purposefully lose games. That's not in his nature. He said no. He didn't do it. He won. He won, even though they were clearly gutting the roster in order to deliberately tank, and he won despite of that, because he's a good coach. First head coach in Dolphins in the past since 2003 to have back-to-back winning seasons, because it's a shitty franchise run by an awful owner in Stephen Ross. 3 of the last 31 head coaching hires since 2018 have been black. 3 of the last 31. And one of the last guys who was just hired, David Culley in Houston, in another terrible situation, who made chicken salad out of chicken shit because Deshaun Watson wasn't going to play for them. He was fired after 1 year because they want to hire Josh McCown, who has never coached an NFL game in his life. He's a former quarterback, white guy, because the owner's religious, and so is Josh McCown. They're Christians. Ooh, that's what they want. And so, like, the idea that someone like Jason Whitlock is going to pretend like there isn't a huge problem in the NFL with this, absurd. And absurd.
Also, why he has the prominence that he does.
Right, and that's why he's on Tucker's show. So, I mean, just a huge story in the NFL, and I hope Brian Flores wins a bunch of money in the lawsuit. So, anyway.